Hi everyone, Re Perez here, Branding for the People, and welcome to this particular interview series. And I have a very special guest here with you that I want to interview with you. She's actually a private client of mine. And also the reason why I wanted to create this interview series is for you. My intention is that while I can talk all about branding and the importance of it, I thought it would be useful to get behind the scenes from some of my VIP clients who can share with you their experience and what they've learned in the process to help demystify it for you. So we're going to jump right in. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Debi Berndt, and she's the CEO of Creative Love. Creative Love is an international personal development company that transforms people's lives and helps through their programs. They focus on helping singles find lasting love and training coaches to also work with their creative love process. So anyway, a little bit more about Debi Berndt. Her and her partner, Dr. Robert Maldonado, who has a PhD in psychology, is the author of Let Love In. Open your heart and mind to attract your ideal partner. Debi has been featured on NBC, ABC, Fox, The Huffington Post, Your Tango, and in Cosmopolitan and Natural Health magazine. So without further ado, Debi, welcome to this interview series.
Thank you, Ree. It's great to be here, of course.
Such a pleasure in your beautiful home in Southern California. It's great to see
Yes.
all the ocean and the California living.
Yes, it's very nice.
Cool.
Not looking for, I don't have to go through another New York winter.
That's right. Debi's originally from New York, and she made the move, and now they live out in California. So I've got to visit Debi a couple times in Southern California because I spent some time out there as well. So thank you for blocking out time. I know you're super busy, and you have programs and events all over the world. So thank you for making some time and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge about going through the branding process. So let's jump right in, shall we?
Okay, it's my pleasure to be here.
Cool, thank you. So let's just start with your story. So tell us, I know I gave you the more professional bio or description of who you are, but share for the listeners, tell us a little bit more about your story and how you got to get to where you are now.
Well, my story isn't as professional as the intro you gave. I was really a mess at love. I was a dating disaster. I really couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I did a lot of personal development, even in my early 20s from that. And I was single till I was 41. So lots of workshops and books and, just trying to figure out what I was doing wrong with love. And nothing ever seemed to work for me until I started, I was in the corporate world. I did a lot of marketing, worked for some of the biggest companies. I worked for MTV networks. I worked a lot of internet startups. So I was very successful in my other life, but love just never seemed to work out for me. And I was a smart person. I'm like, how come all these people that don't seem to be as smart as me seem to find love and I'm still stuck here? And so I was really on this mission. And through my searching, I found, I loved personal development. I really didn't like to do all the marketing and the business. So I ended up going to hypnotherapy school. And I remember, just really finding out this other part of our mind, which is unconscious, that drives all our results in our life and drives our attraction. And that's what it sold me. I was like, more people need to know about this unconscious part. Like thinking positive isn't working. So I ended up becoming a hypnotherapist. And then through that, changed my unconscious and met my true love, Dr. Robert Maldonado. Yeah. And I just said, I got to get this out there because it's really powerful and it's really working. And it's not just hypnotherapy, but Robert and I joined forces together and really came up with this new system, which is now called the Creative Love Process, that involves Jungian psychology, which a lot of people, they don't really understand that Jung is really a very powerful force in the personal development industry. And it's
for those of you who aren't familiar, that would be Carl Jung.
Yes, and he worked with Freud. He didn't work under Freud, he worked with him. And so his work is really powerful, but it's only been in the therapy role and not the coaching role that it's been utilized. And so we kind of brought this fresh perspective. And we had this system in place, but we just didn't know how to package it and tell people how great it is. I mean, once people got in, they were like, wow, this is so cool. But, the front door to come into our business really was confusing. And so but we've helped thousands of people across the world, and it's just been an amazing journey for me to have such great love and success in my life, all over. So
Oh, that's
it's been a
awesome.
great journey, and writing my book, and all the other things that have been showing up.
Yeah,
So
you have
it's
a
been
lot going on, and I think you're a great inspiration for a lot of people who are also looking for love and kind of looking at the, kind of tapping into their unconscious as well, to figure out what's in their way of finding true love. Or if they're already in love, what would be, how could they take their love to the next level for sure. So I love that story about you. It never gets old hearing it again.
the
So
desperate Debbie, the desperate diva turned
yeah.
divine diva.
Now, when we first met a couple of years ago, you were actually doing quite well as a business. You understood. You obviously worked in corporate, like you just mentioned, and you understood marketing. And you're a smart person, and you've been quite successful. Tell us a little bit more about what was your understanding of branding prior to going through the branding process? One of the things that I come across a lot is that people kind of know what branding is, or maybe they don't really understand what branding can do. So maybe just take us a baseline. What was your understanding of branding prior to going through the branding process with us?
Well, as I said before, I was in the corporate world, so I did a lot of marketing, promotion. I went through rebranding with VH1. I worked in their marketing department, so we did a lot of rebranding there.
Yeah.
We did the .coms I worked for in a highly competitive startup field. You get the branding, you get the name, and I as the marketing director, working for someone else and coming up with someone else's brand was a little different than actually doing it myself. My understanding was that it was having a great logo and a great name. Pretty much was it, and then finding your niche. But other than that, it really didn't go deeper than that as far as where you take it. So it was very superficial.
So it's about the logo, the name, and then also finding your niche, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just kind of like what product, where you stand in the market. VH1 was trying to like stand out from MTV, but it wasn't as deep. It really wasn't very deep.
Sure. Well, that's good. I mean, at least you had some sense of the different pieces of branding, and you will learn a little bit more about this, but how we deepen that understanding for you. But that's certainly a good baseline in terms of understanding of branding. Now, tell us why. So I get a lot of questions of when's a good time to go through a branding process, or why should someone go through the branding process. But from your perspective, why did you have been successful, you've built a very successful business, why did you decide to go through the branding process?
Because you kept bugging me saying, Debbie, you need to do branding. No,
sure,
I really
blame it
knew
on
I
me.
did. I really knew needed to do it, and I went through it with some iterations of testing out some angles.
Sure.
And I think it's for me, it was when Robert joined the company, everything started to change. So I couldn't be like the Debbie dating coach, love coach kind of girl. I had to bring in this other element that was richer and more profound with the depth of work that Robert brings to us working together. And so we were going through a change anyway. And I said, I kept trying, of course, Debbie, the Photoshop girl, kept trying to make banners like, what are we calling ourselves? What tagline should we use? Like, who are we? And, every time I saw you at events, you sponsored a lot of events I went to, and the entrepreneur events. And I was like, kept going back to you. And I see what you did with other coaches and other businesses. And I said, we really want to we want to stop looking like a startup, and we want to start looking like a real company. And so we really decided that it was a really good investment for us. It was just, it's kind of like when you meet a client and you're driving a beat up old car. What does that say, right? But if you pull up in a Mercedes,
right,
it has just a different feel to it. Yeah. So I feel like I went from being the junkie car to a Mercedes when I worked with you. And the thing is, it didn't give, like when I was trying to do it myself and trying to come up with these things and trying to do it the cheaper way, it looked cheap. It didn't look cohesive. There were things I couldn't see that you were able to see. And it was like, The work that we do is so profound. It needed that elevation. It needed that quality. It needed to be wrapped like in a Tiffany's box
Tiffany's
with a
box.
nice bow and very, very high end and
Now,
beautiful.
let me ask you a question just to follow on to that. So, do you think that perception-wise, people had, while your offerings were Mercedes-esque, if you will, do you think that because you were that beat-up car looking sort of, how would you find that, how would you describe how that impacted potential clients or existing clients even, but how would you say that that impacted your business, if at all? Because you have been successful with the beat-up car. But
Yeah.
how has it
And it
impacted your
was,
business?
well, it brought a different level of clients. The level of clients that we were kind of attracting were anyone that wants love, and
Mm,
our fees are pretty high end. I mean, we really market to a higher end to do personal coaching with us. So
okay.
it doesn't serve anyone that can't afford those fees to market to them and then have them feel like this, I can't afford it. And so it's like, taking, it's the difference between going to like a Walmart and, having those $47 courses online to going to some boutique high end coaching
Sure.
program. And you want to let the consumer know who you are so they know what they're getting into,
Right.
and also preparing them. And I think by us doing the branding helped us really identify who our core market was, and then how do we express that, and how do we communicate that in not only copy but also that nonverbal visual language and
Right.
the images and everything else that you taught us. So
Oh, good.
it was really, I think it was almost like getting a business plan,
Yeah.
in a way. It's like a template for your business and who you're really going for.
That's a good point. Thanks for saying that because yeah, it's more than just a look and feel. It kind of really informs and guides how you how you run your business. Now, maybe it might tweak the business model, but maybe you had a business model already, but it does kind of inform some of the decisions that you make for your business, right?
Hmm. And truly, people want to feel like, even if they can't afford a Mercedes, they want to feel like they're part of that group too,
Sure,
So it
sure.
really helps people feel like, especially in the love industry, a lot of women that are single don't take care of themselves. They don't really treat themselves to like nice things. And so this is kind of like they can be a part of something, even if, they don't do the high end services. They feel like they're being stepped into a beautiful showroom, in a
Yeah.
beautiful place.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Hmm.
So let me ask you a question because you know a lot of people, and of course you have
I know a
lots of
lot of
you know a lot of people, uh, and you have choices.
Yes.
And I'm a big advocate to people working with the people who are they meant to work with, right? And so why did you choose to work with me, or why did you choose to work with Branding for the People to help you go through this branding process?
Well, I knew you personally, so that helps.
That
Also,
helps,
I
right?
built a relation with you over the years, and I knew the people that you worked with, and actually respected those people. I thought they were very influential in the industry, and I thought, if they're hiring Re, he must be good, and he keeps getting that business. So that was a reflection. Your other brands were a reflection of you. And then I looked at other people, and quite frankly, the way they packaged their programs was very inexpensive and cheap. And I was like, you know, what am I really going to get out of this? A lot of
Mm,
times, when you're going for branding, you don't want to go for the cheapest, fastest way. I did that before. And I was like, when you told me what your fee was, I was like, he's going to deliver really great stuff for us. It was worth it. And so I think that was also an element too, is that you were confident in what you did, and I really saw what you did for other
for
people,
other
and I
people.
just felt very confident that you would take care of us and that
Oh,
we were
good.
going to get
Thank you.
something of great value.
Oh, good. Thank you. Awesome. Well, thanks for that. Now, are there some things that you would, uh, just on that note, whether it's me or whether it's another agency, but what are some of the things that an entrepreneur or small business should consider or think about to help them decide who's going to be the best fit for him or her?
Well, I think number one is the person you talk to, you should really feel like they understand who you are.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
there's some kind of connection, like they get it, like, oh yeah, I get your business a little, even if it's not fully yet, but they're not trying to force you into something. Like sometimes branders are like, this is what's going to sell. And they're
Right.
not really
Right.
connected to your heart and the soul of your business. And I felt like you understood us really well. I was actually really shocked in our VIP day how much you did understand. I was like, wow, he really gets us. Even with our confusing way of explaining everything, like you really got it. And that's something I think is so important because, branding isn't just about making quick sales and being like, the next pop phenomenon.
Sure.
It's about something that is going to carry through for not like a splash in the pan, that you want to be, something that's going to carry you through, that you connect with, or it's not going to work.
Okay.
And so that was one of them. And then another thing is I just looked at the creative that you created. I, worked in marketing, so
Right.
I'm a snob when it comes to graphic design, which is very hard
No.
for me to hire a graphic designer because I'm so picky. But I loved the designs that you created, that your company created for people. Like just the visuals were really wonderful.
Okay.
And I don't know, there was just something about the professionalism, and there was something also about your knowledge that what a brand is. It's more than just a logo. That was really important to me too.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. I mean, great feedback for
And,
sure.
and you're a good-looking guy, so you're not bad on
Well,
the
I
eyes.
do
So
the
go
best
for
I
it.
can. Takes a lot of work to look this way.
I know.
But
It's
what's
part of your
interesting.
brand.
So, for those who are considering working, I love what you said, and this is really just applies to anyone because it's nearly impossible for our agency to brand every single person, right? And there's lots of branding agencies out there. But what I love about what you said, at the end of the day, someone who's going to be able to get you and see your vision, right? So it's that whole trust-like and that whole trust-like factor, right? Is that we buy from people that we trust, like, and respect, right? So obviously someone who gets to know you and knows who you are. And then the second thing is, while you were referring to the design work from some of our other clients, essentially what you should be looking at is taking a look at a brander's portfolio. Now, design is highly subjective, and I could say that there's some people that probably don't like some of the designs that we've created. The point is that that if you want to look at the person's portfolio and see if you think that the design aesthetics and the style is going to fit your business. And then I guess you mentioned professionalism and knowledge of branding. And this is a big one for me. Obviously I come from the big consulting firms, and I developed that sort of skill. But in general, what I love what you're saying is that just work with people who do what they say they're going to do, that they deliver, and that they bring a perspective. They bring some knowledge and insight because you're trusting them with your most valuable asset as an entrepreneur, which is your business. So professionalism and knowledge of the subject matter at hand. So great tips. Thanks for that. All right, so now let's go a little bit deeper, because what I find deeper, right? I find that a lot of people, it's hard, even for myself, I do a pretty good job trying to demystify the process, but even that, I'm so close to it. I understand this process really well, but from your perspective, I would love for you to share with people, describe the branding process. What was that journey like for you? Maybe there were some new ahas that come up, or maybe there's a fresh perspective, but I'll leave it kind of open. But why don't you talk to us, walk with someone through that journey of the branding process for you?
Well, we had our initial call, and then you gave us homework, which it was really good for Robert and I to get on the same page, actually, of what our vision is for the brand and the company, and who our ideal client is, and what is it we really do, and what would we say. Like, we had a hard time even, like I said, coming up with how do we say that elevator pitch of what we do that makes us sound unique instead of just helping someone find love. There's thousands and thousands of love coaches that say the same thing. So how do we make it sound less cheesy and more deep? And then, then we met again, and you kind of went through some things. And then I think the biggest transformation happened in our VIP day, because you took us through this. I don't know what to call it. It's the 4 quadrants, I call it. You have another name for it. But that alone showed us where we are alone in this market. You know, we are the only people in this certain quadrant. There were 4 quadrants of the different types of people. And we were like, wow. And we kept looking for people that do what we do. And they're like, nope, they go in that other quadrant.
Right.
So it was so actually very clarifying for us and very cool for us to see that we're actually innovators in the industry, in the love industry. You know, we're actually doing something that no one else is doing. Even though people think, oh, you're kind of like this or kind of like that, there's this subtle place that we stand out and are different that I think is going to change the whole personal development industry eventually. But
Sure.
It was really cool that you picked it out from the outside, that we couldn't see what it was. So it was really great. And it was all about the not fixing, no therapy, you know, very
Sure.
empowering,
Sure.
that there's not something wrong with you type of thing. And that, I mean, we kind of knew it, but you kind of you showed us the way. And then just breaking down like the process of a client, where they go through our brand, the different levels of packages that we can build around the brand, you know, the names that we can kind of come up with, you know, that whole part. And then the last part was, you know, kind of getting the design. That was the most exciting part, is like, of course, getting the visual identity, not the logo, and just kind of the typeface, making
Sure.
it consistent and all those things. And that was the most fun, I think, is just kind of seeing it kind of come into with images and visual. And it was just cool. It was like we just knew that it was such a good fit, and we were just so in love with it. And I even made a necklace out of part of our.
Yes, you do. You should check out her necklace. You know, if you go check out her work, creativelove.com, you'll see the logo that we created, the identity, and it even became a beautiful necklace. I think it's sold in Tiffany now, right?
Yes, we hope so. Very soon. But we're going to use this symbol in a lot of different things that we do, and so it just kind of ties everything together, and it just takes us to the next level. And it just was so great. And I know right after we did the branding process, we did an event, and it was the first time we ever had a 6-figure sales in an event, because awesome. We were so clear on the message. We were so clear on what we do, more than ever. And it just kind of pulled everything together and got us. I think there's something about being aligned in energy with what you do and how you speak it. And that's what I think you did for us.
Oh, good. Thank you. You know, it's interesting. There are some sort of technical terms to describe those 4 quadrants and so forth.
Layman's terms, the lay brander.
No, but it's good. It's from your perspective, right? So for those of you listening in, it's actually called a perceptual map. And
okay. Ooh, that's nice.
And basically, it's to help you identify where you're positioned relative to all the other people that do something similar to what you do, or who do exactly what you do. And one of 2 things can happen when you look at that perceptual map. You either identify that you're in a crowded sandbox and you need to figure out a different angle for how you talk about what you do. Or the second thing is that you could find that you're in your own sandbox, kind of like with Debi and Dr. Robert Maldonado, is that they found that they carved out their own sandbox. I just had to sort of reveal that piece. This is where you sit. This is where you're positioned. And everyone else is there, but they're in a different sandbox. So that allowed you to be able to talk about your business, create messaging about your business that was consistent with who you are, but having that clarity of knowing who you are and who you're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. So I know you started to mention this about your event, and you had a 6-figure event just shortly after rebranding, but tell us about, and I know for entrepreneurs and small businesses, of course, making money and generating revenue and having the return on your investment is important. What are some of the other things, whether they're tangible or intangible? What are some of the other benefits? How has this impacted your business?
Well, it's impacted it in so many ways. First of all, just the quality and the people that we attract now really know who we are. They know what they're getting into.
Would you say you're attracting a higher caliber?
Higher caliber clients, more intelligent, more like really ready to kind of explore a deeper, like the Jungian psychology, which is a little deeper. It's not about just putting a vision board up and hoping that the man shows up. So you're getting people a little more sophisticated. We're getting people that are really, they want to know about themselves. They just don't want to just find someone. So that whole branding helped us pull that in. And then also just the feedback we get is that reflects that we are different. They've never done anything like this before. This is completely different. This is so new. And so we're kind of getting that feedback is like, we had to kind of put it out there that we are different. And then now we're getting the feedback to really confirm that yes, we're getting the people that see that. And then, just writing copy on the website just is easier. Writing emails is easier. We know
important point. Thanks for saying that, because when your message is clear and your positioning is clear, it just makes something as tactical yet important, like writing an email, it makes it so much easier, right?
Mm-hmm. And also, we hire agencies to help us with advertising, doing Facebook ads.
Right.
If we weren't clear on what our message is, how are you going to write an ad? I mean, we would have been all over the place. Right. And even the free gift that we offer, very specific to our brand, not just a general love attraction system anymore. And just kind of being willing to go deep, because that's actually one of the things that we discovered is that people are really hungry for something a little more sophisticated and a little more deep. And it may be, not all fluffy, but it's very, very deep and rich. And there's a market for that. And I fought that for a long time. I was trying to be like the dating tips girl. And I thought, no one's going to want to know this deep stuff. I'm the only one. And then I found out there's more people like me that really want to know this deep psychology work. And it's beautiful. And it's just changed that part. And then also even picking images, like images that we use. You helped us kind of come up with that theme. Like we're not doing hearts and red hearts and butterflies.
Do you mean like the photography images?
Yeah, yeah, the photography. Yeah, we're not, doing like hearts and like the obvious couple pictures that you see on everyone else's site. There's a kind of a feel to it. I'm not going to reveal what our specific style is.
I think I even made fun of your photos prior to the branding process.
I think you did. You made fun of everything, including my design work.
Well,
I used to design it myself.
At least we got you away from using Photoshop, at least not as much.
No. Every once in a while I'll throw a banner up there because I love doing it, but I know it. But it's really very specific to like tying everything together. And when you have that kind of foundation, you can do, everything stems from that. And so you're not like, I think people feel comfortable, customers feel comfortable when they know where they are.
Sure.
Before, I felt like I was kind of being fun Debi, but also deep Debi, and they were like, I don't know, I kind of like the fun Debi, and the deep Debi, I don't know, and I don't like the deep Debi people don't like the fun Debi people, so it's like, be who you are,
exactly,
and then the right people, and that's I think the branding process for people that are interested in it. There's a temptation when you first start your company to put something out there that you think people want, that you think is going to sell. Okay. And it's not authentic and it's not really what you are, but you're doing it because you think, well, no one's going to like what I really want to teach. And what you did was tell us there is a market for this, and now we're taking it over.
And that's awesome. It's so exciting to hear a lot of the achievements that you've been able to accomplish. Let me ask you a side question. So for those listening in, because I get this question a lot, and again, self-serving for me to answer this question, but from your perspective, right? So if someone says, listen, Debi, that's great that you did that, but I could probably go to 99 Designs, or I could probably get something from CrowdSpring. And there's nothing wrong with those resources, to be clear. I'm just saying, but they're like, you know what, I'm going to bootstrap it, and I'm just going to get a logo for now. What would you say to that if someone is sort of on that wavelength of thinking?
Well, I'm very into mindset, and what we do is about the unconscious. And if you're going to put together something cheap, you're not going to be able to charge the fees that you want to charge, whatever you for your products or services, if you're putting together a shoddy storefront.
Sure.
You go into Walmart and there's everything is on sale, crowded. that it's very
Fluorescent
bright.
lighting.
It's a very different experience than walking into Tiffany's in New York, and you're like, it's quiet, and maybe there's a string quartet playing, and so it's like when you're in a brand, wherever you are, you're like showing yourself and showcasing yourself.
Yeah.
And it's so important. It's like the clothes you wear when you go out to a networking event. If you showed up in sweatpants, people aren't going to take you serious. Or even the business card that's like that has Vistaprint on the back that's free. It's my free card, and it looks like everyone else's. People, there's something, and then there's something about believing in what you do, that you're willing to invest to have something really great, because it's your dream.
Sure.
You don't want to shortcut it. And I always relate it to dating. It's like, why settle for average when you can have great?
That's I love that parallel. It's like, would you just date someone that is average, or do you want to go for the best?
And another thing too with business is what I've learned is, when I stepped up and branded with you, I was stepping up my business to a whole new level. I was like, I'm serious about this. I want to be a 7-figure business. I want to act like a 7-figure business, even if I'm not there yet. I want to have a brand, a 7-figure, 8-figure brand. And that is really, there's something that transformational happens when you invest in yourself like that and take your business seriously.
Yeah.
And there's other ways you can hire, people like administration people, get them $10 an hour. But if you're going to invest parts of your business, it has to be the storefront and how you present it. That's really where your money should go first.
Hey, couldn't have said it better. In fact, Suzanne always talks about how, you build or you hire based on where you're going, right?
Yes.
Not where you are now. I'm sure a lot of other, coaches talk about that as well, but it's a great mindset.
And I want to say too, if you're just starting out and you have one client as a coach, maybe it's not the time, because you need to kind of go through and do the inexpensive way just to kind of get your bills paid. Yeah, but if you've been doing it for a while and you have this client base and you're really kind of on this trajectory of growth, that's the time really when you should look at branding, because the longer you stay in that beginner mindset, the longer your income is going to match that. If you're not professional in your design and in the look of your brand and your copy, your income is you're going to stay stuck in that beginner phase.
The beginner phase. Oh, that's a good point. I mean, it's a little bit of sort of the sad truth, the statistics in terms of how many people pass that 4-year or 5-year mark. And I think if there's anything that I want also people to get from this interview is that, Debbie said 2 things, right? If you're just starting out, there's probably some work that you need to do first. Maybe the problem to solve is in branding. It might be more business or sales, or figuring out who your target audiences are. Although branding covers that, but you might have some other more pressing things to do. But the other thing too is about getting out of a certain mindset. So how long do you want to stay in a startup mentality versus being confident on where you're going and then keep moving through those spaces? So anyway, it's great.
I also think your colleagues, if you're in an industry where your colleagues are looking at you and you have a new brand and it looks very professional, people start to want to partner with you. It just has so many more benefits.
That's a good point. It makes it easier for people who want to align their brand with yours, right?
Mm-hmm. And when JV partners come to me, the first thing I do is look at their website and see what they're doing, what they're about. And the thing is, I think the most important thing is I'm all about the people we serve, because I think people get all caught up, especially in the coaching industry, of how much money you make. But think about the people you serve. They need to know that you're who you are, so they can make a good decision. I mean, when I was looking for coaches and online, I needed to find someone that fit me. I wasn't. Everyone said the same thing. Everyone, weren't clear on what they offered, and that makes the customer confused, and they don't know if they're getting into the right place. And when you have the brand, it's like they feel like, oh yeah, we fit. We fit.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Well, great feedback. So, any other? I know you've been kind of peppering them throughout the interview, but any other tips or advice you might give to entrepreneurs, whether they're just starting out, whether they're a bit more established, or even if they're just in the mindset of like, well, I know marketing, or I can get some inexpensive design on my own. Or like any tips or advice that you would give entrepreneurs who are considering going through a branding process?
Well, first of all, if you're just starting out and you're really not ready to brand, just start with something. Just be consistent,
Okay.
be clear and consistent, and then as you stay in that niche, you can always change it and transform it.
Okay.
But like that's I think for beginners that are trying to just get their business going.
Okay.
I think consistency is really important. Don't try to be the jack of all trades because you end up pleasing nobody and everyone's unhappy.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
The second thing is when you go into the branding process, you have to be open and really, be willing to kind of look at your business and be willing to look at it in a different way and not be so fixed and like, this is the brand I want, this is the market I want. And, you have to let, like when I worked with you, I trusted you. I took your advice. I wasn't like arguing with you the whole time and saying, no, this is totally wrong. You were arguing with me more, not just no, you were just making fun of my graphic design. But it's all about being open and trusting an expert, and then after the branding process was done, we had to implement. It wasn't like, okay, we have this great brand, let's slap a logo up on our site and we're off. We looked at all the emails we were sending out, our messaging, our newsletter, our the blogs I was writing, the posts I was writing. And everything we did I took down all my old courses that weren't in alignment with the brand, my Sexy True Love course and, all these crazy dating courses. I just took them down and took them off. And even the meditations I was doing for my clients, I took those away. And we really stick to what we do. And it's really cool.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for those tips and advice. And, so you mentioned consistency and be open. And I think the last part was just kind of the implementation across all of that. So once you get clear on the brand, you want to implement that on every single touch point, right?
And it's good to get in if you're a beginner and you're just starting out and maybe you're not ready for Re Perez of the world yet. You start just be consistent now and just get into that practice. So when you when you build your business and you're ready for, something really amazing, like working with branding with the people, you're going to have that unconscious habit going and you're going to be able to take it like a rocket ship to the next level. And I think that's what you've done for us. Like you created $1 million brand for us, multi-million-dollar brand. And
cool. Thank you.
It's very
cool. Well, it's interesting because thank you for all those great comments. And really my intention for sharing Debbie with you guys was to exactly have her reveal the process to you. Also for have you to know a little bit more about who Debbie is, because she's doing some great things in the world. And yes, it's impacting her business. But I wanted you guys to have a behind the scenes and what you can learn from Debbie and her process. I love sharing my VIP clients with the community that follows our work, and hopefully we just did that, and hopefully there's some nuggets here that you can walk away from as well. So with that being said, so Debbie, if someone wanted to find out a little bit more about your work and they're looking for love or looking to let love in, where should we send them to?
creativelove.com.
Okay, good.
And there's a little banner right on the top, or not a banner, a little badge that you can sign up for a free visualization and a lecture, and it kind of gives you an overview of our philosophy. And if you're interested in Carl Jung and his work of the shadow and the anima animus, and we call it the inner atom, these unconscious parts that are directing your life, you'll find out more and will open your mind too to possibilities in love.
Love it, love it, love it. And again, I do apologize for the New York City background noise.
I don't hear it.
Okay, well, there, no one heard it. So that being said, first of all, go check out creativelove.com. Debi Berndt, her work is amazing, and her work also produces results. She's helping hundreds of people. Her programs are taught in her certifications are translated in over, 15 languages, I think.
Mm-hmm. And thousands of people, not hundreds.
Yeah, so lots of people that she's helping.
Yeah, we just got back from Paris. We were in Dubai this year, and we were all over the world. So it's awesome.
I love it. Well, next time we'll have to get Dr. Robert Maldonado to come to the interview. But thank you for sharing your side of of the process. And if you could just do me a favor, thank you for listening in. Go check out creativelove.com. But if you could do me a favor, if you could just on this page where you're watching this video, if you could just type in your comments and let us know if what you got out of it and how this interview was for you, and hopefully it served you. To check out more of our work, again, just brandingforthepeople.com. Thank you, Debbie, for your time.
You're welcome, Re.
Always a pleasure to see you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Me too.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.